The S.K. Pierce Mansion in Gardner, Massachusetts, stands as a haunting testament to both history and tragedy. After Sylvester Pierce lost his first wife, Susan, mere days after moving into their grand home, the mansion seemed to absorb the sorrow that lingered within its walls. Sylvester's hasty remarriage and the subsequent tumult of his family's life only added to the dark atmosphere. As the mansion transitioned into a boarding house under Edward's management, its reputation shifted dramatically. What was once a symbol of affluence became a hub for illicit activities, and the tragic deaths of various occupants further tainted its legacy. Stories of strange occurrences filled the air. Guests reported seeing ghostly figures wandering the halls, disembodied voices echoing in the night, and eerie sensations of being watched. Many who visited the mansion described feeling sudden drops in temperature, as if unseen forces were nearby. Objects would inexplicably move, doors slammed shut without a breeze, and the air was often thick with an inexplicable tension. The most chilling tales involved the spirits of those who had met untimely ends, their presence still felt within the home. Local ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts flocked to the mansion, hoping to capture evidence of the otherworldly. Some reported feeling a strong connection to Susan, sensing her sorrow as she roamed the halls. Others claimed to encounter Edward, his restless spirit still grappling with the chaos left behind by his family's disputes. Despite, or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the S.K. Pierce Mansion continues to draw visitors intrigued by its rich history and spectral inhabitants. Many leave with stories of their own, further cementing the mansion's place as one of Massachusetts' eeriest and most enigmatic locations. Each visitor, it seems, becomes part of the mansion's ever-evolving narrative, adding to the layers of sorrow and intrigue that linger in its shadowy corners. As the S.K. Pierce Mansion stood resilient against the passage of time, it became a focal point for ghost hunters and curious visitors alike. One crisp autumn evening, a group of paranormal investigators arrived, equipped with their gear and a palpable excitement in the air. They were determined to document the mansion's spectral occurrences and uncover the secrets that lay within its haunted walls. After setting up their equipment in the grand foyer, they began their investigation, splitting into pairs to cover more ground. The atmosphere was charged, a sense of anticipation hanging heavy as they entered the dimly lit rooms, each filled with remnants of the past antique furniture, faded photographs, and whispers of lives once lived. One team, comprised of a seasoned investigator named Jake and a medium named Sarah, headed towards the former master bedroom. As they crossed the threshold, the temperature dropped noticeably, and Sarah shivered involuntarily. "I can feel something here," she murmured, her eyes scanning the shadows. "It's like a presence, lingering, waiting." Jake set up his EMF meter and began to sweep the room. "Let's see if we can make contact," he suggested. As he spoke, Sarah closed her eyes, focusing on the energy around them. "If there's anyone here with us, please show us a sign." Moments later, a soft rustling sound echoed from the corner of the room. Both turned toward the noise, hearts racing. "Did you hear that?" Jake asked, glancing at Sarah, who nodded slowly. "Let's go check it out," she said, her voice steady despite the rising tension. As they approached, they noticed a delicate lace curtain fluttering, though there were no windows open. Jake shone his flashlight on the curtain, revealing a chilling message scrawled in the dust on the nearby dresser. "Help me," Sarah gasped, her intuition prickling. "This is definitely connected to Susan. She's reaching out." They began to ask questions, hoping to draw her spirit closer. "Why do you need help?" Jake called into the silence. The air thickened as if the mansion itself were holding its breath. Then, without warning, the lights flickered, plunging them into darkness. A moment later, the EMF meter began to spike wildly, and a low, mournful whisper filled the room. "Trapped? Lost?" Sarah's heart raced. She feels trapped here, tied to the pain of her past. Meanwhile, the other team members were exploring the downstairs parlor, where reports of apparitions had been frequent. Tom and Lisa, both skeptical yet intrigued, were examining the old furniture when a heavy chair suddenly slid across the floor on its own. They exchanged wide-eyed glances, disbelief mixing with excitement. What was that? Tom exclaimed, moving cautiously toward the chair. Just then, the air grew heavy with an unnatural chill, and a shadow darted across the wall, a fleeting glimpse of a figure in period clothing. Did you see that? Lisa whispered, her voice trembling. Tom nodded, his skepticism wavering. We need to get this on camera. They rushed to set up their recording equipment, eager to capture evidence of the supernatural. Back in the master bedroom, Jake and Sarah pressed on, determined to understand Susan's plight. If you can hear us, we want to help you, Jake said, his voice calm yet firm. What do you need us to do? In response, the temperature dropped even further, and a heavy feeling settled in the room. Sarah reached out, feeling the emotional weight that enveloped them. Susan, we know you suffered. You don't have to be alone anymore. As if summoned by her words, a soft glow appeared in the corner of the room, coalescing into the form of a woman in a flowing dress, Susan herself. The sight took their breath away. She looked ethereal, her expression a mix of sorrow and longing. Find him, she whispered, her voice barely audible yet clear. He holds the key. Before they could respond, Susan's figure flickered, and the room plunged back into darkness. Panic surged through Jake and Sarah, but they quickly collected themselves, knowing they were on the cusp of a significant revelation. What did she mean? Jake wondered aloud, glancing around as if the answer might appear from the shadows. I don't know, Sarah replied, her heart racing, but we need to figure out who he is. There's more to this story, and we're just scratching the surface. As they regrouped with the other team members, the mansion pulsed with energy, the spirits within urging them onward to uncover the truth of its haunted history, one that would reveal the deeper connections binding the Pierce family to the very fabric of the house itself. Each discovery was a step closer to unraveling the tangled web of love, loss, and the haunting presence that had remained trapped within its walls for far too long. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. The investigators gathered in the foyer, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of their equipment. Excitement and trepidation mingled in the air as Jake shared what he and Sarah had encountered. Susan appeared, he said, his voice urgent. She told us to find someone. He holds the key. The team exchanged curious glances, the gravity of the moment sinking in. Who could she mean? Lisa pondered aloud, her earlier skepticism now overshadowed by intrigue. There are so many people connected to this house and the family. I think we need to dig deeper into the history, Tom suggested, pulling out his phone. Maybe there are records or names we haven't considered. As he began searching for information about the Pierce family, the group felt the mansion's atmosphere shift again, as if it were listening, holding its breath in anticipation. Sarah glanced around, feeling the weight of the house's energy pressing in on them. We should split up again. One team can research downstairs while the other explores the attic. There might be old letters or documents that could shed light on this mystery. The team agreed, splitting into two groups once more. Jake and Sarah headed upstairs to the attic, while Tom, Lisa, and another investigator, Mark, remained on the first floor. As Jake and Sarah climbed the creaking staircase, the air grew thick with anticipation. The attic was cluttered with forgotten treasures, old trunks, furniture draped in dusty sheets, and stacks of boxes filled with family memorabilia. They began searching through the boxes, hoping to uncover something that would reveal the identity of the mysterious man Susan referred to. Look at this, Sarah said, holding up an old photo album. The cover was cracked and weathered, but inside were faded pictures of the Pierce family, including images of Sylvester, Susan, and their children. Maybe this will give us some clues. They flipped through the pages, stopping at a picture of Sylvester and a young woman, both smiling. Who is she? Jake asked, intrigued. I don't know, Sarah replied, but she could feel a connection. There's something about her. As they continued to search, they discovered a hidden compartment in one of the trunks. Inside was a collection of letters, neatly tied with a ribbon. Jake carefully untied them, revealing a correspondence between Sylvester and a man named Thomas Wilkins. This could be it, Jake said, scanning the letters. Thomas was a close friend of Sylvester. They discussed business, but there are mentions of Susan too. It looks like Thomas was quite fond of her. Sarah's heart raced. Could he be the one Susan was referring to? Did he hold some significance in her life? Meanwhile, downstairs, Tom, Lisa, and Mark were poring over old documents found in a locked cabinet. Among them were newspaper clippings detailing the mansion's dark history, including the tragic deaths that had occurred within its walls. One headline caught Tom's eye: Mysterious Death of Boarding House Tenant Sparks Investigation. "Look at this," he called out, pointing to the article. "It mentions Edward's boarding house and the strange occurrences that followed. There was even a rumor about a secret passage in the attic." Lisa's eyes widened. What if there's a connection between that passage and what Susan is trying to tell us? It could lead us to the answers we need. Back in the attic, Jake and Sarah continued to sift through the letters. One letter in particular stood out: a heartfelt confession from Thomas to Sylvester, expressing his concern for Susan's well-being. "He seemed to think she was unhappy," Sarah noted. "There's a sense of urgency in his words. He wanted to help her. Maybe he was in love with her," Jake speculated. "If he felt she was trapped in her marriage to Sylvester, he might have wanted to rescue her." The air in the attic grew heavier, and Sarah sensed that they were close to uncovering the truth. "We need to find out what happened to Thomas. If he was a significant part of Susan's life, it could explain why her spirit is still here." Just then, a loud thud echoed through the house, reverberating from below. Startled, they exchanged glances. "What was that?" Jake asked, his pulse quickening. "Let's check it out," Sarah urged, feeling an urgency to discover what was happening. As they hurried down the stairs, the atmosphere thickened, charged with an unsettling energy. When they reached the first floor, they found Tom, Lisa, and Mark looking pale. "Something strange just happened," Tom said, his voice shaky. "We were going through the documents when a book flew off the shelf. It was as if someone was trying to get our attention." Mark nodded, his expression serious. "It felt like a warning. We need to be cautious." Jake turned to Sarah, his eyes alight with determination. "We're close. Susan and Thomas are trying to tell us something. We can't give up now." The group reconvened, their minds racing with possibilities as they prepared to delve deeper into the mansion's secrets. With each step, they felt the weight of history pressing in around them, the spirits within urging them to unravel the truth that had remained hidden for far too long. The night was just beginning, and the S.K. Pierce mansion held its breath, waiting for the story to unfold. With their resolve strengthened, the group decided to regroup in the grand foyer, where they could share their findings and plan their next steps. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as they settled into a circle, the weight of the mansion's history hanging in the air. Jake laid out the letters they had found in the attic. "We discovered correspondence between Sylvester and a man named Thomas Wilkins. It seems Thomas had strong feelings for Susan and was concerned about her happiness." Tom leaned forward, intrigued. Could he have been someone she confided in? Maybe he wanted to help her escape her situation with Sylvester. "Exactly," Sarah added. "If Susan felt trapped, Thomas might have represented a different path for her, one that she couldn't take." Lisa glanced at the stack of newspaper clippings. "We found an article about a mysterious death related to Edward's boarding house. There was also talk of a secret passage in the attic. It could connect to both Susan and Thomas." "Let's find that passage," Jake suggested, adrenaline coursing through him. "If it's still there, it might lead us to more clues about what happened in this house." As they made their way back to the attic, the air felt charged, almost electric. With each step, they could feel the anticipation building, as if the house itself were alive, guiding them toward something significant. Once in the attic, they began searching for any signs of a hidden passage. Sarah focused her energy, trying to sense any unusual vibrations in the air. If Thomas was trying to help Susan, he might have used the passage as a way to meet her without Sylvester knowing. They examined the walls, tapping and pushing against wooden panels, looking for any give or irregularity. Just as doubt began to creep in, Mark called out, "Over here. I think I found something." He pointed to a section of the wall that looked slightly different, worn, with the wood grain appearing to have aged unevenly compared to the rest of the room. The team gathered around, their hearts racing with excitement. "Help me push," Mark said, bracing his shoulder against the wall. The others joined in, and with a sudden creak, the panel swung open to reveal a narrow, dark passageway. A chill swept through the attic, and the team exchanged wide-eyed looks. "Should we go in?" Lisa asked, glancing nervously into the darkness. "Yes," Jake urged, stepping forward. "We're so close. This could lead us to the truth." With flashlights in hand, they entered the passage, the air cool and musty as they descended into the unknown. The narrow tunnel twisted and turned, the sound of their footsteps echoing ominously in the confined space. After a short walk, they emerged into a small, dimly lit room filled with old crates and forgotten items. A sense of history hung heavy in the air, and they began to sift through the contents, uncovering trinkets that seemed to belong to the Pierce family. As they rummaged, Sarah's flashlight beam landed on a small, ornate box tucked in the corner. "Look at this!" she exclaimed, brushing off layers of dust. The box was beautifully crafted, adorned with intricate designs that hinted at its significance. Jake leaned closer, intrigued. "Open it," he urged, sensing that this could hold more answers. With trembling hands, Sarah opened the box to reveal a collection of letters, each one dated, and all written in Susan's elegant script. "These are hers," she whispered, her heart racing. She must have kept them hidden here. The first letter was addressed to Thomas. "This could be what we need," Jake said, excitement bubbling within him. As Sarah began to read, the words echoed with emotion. "Dear Thomas, your friendship has been a light in my life during these dark times. I feel a connection with you that I cannot explain, but I am trapped in a situation I cannot escape." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as she read on, revealing the depths of Susan's sorrow and her longing for freedom. The letters expressed her dreams of a life beyond the confines of her marriage, her fears about Sylvester's rage, and her desperate wish to see Thomas again. "This is incredible," Lisa said, awestruck. These letters are a testament to her feelings. She wanted to be with him, but circumstances kept her trapped. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the passage, causing them all to jump. The air felt charged, as if the very essence of the house were reacting to their discovery. "What was that?" Mark asked, his voice tense. "I don't know," Jake replied, feeling a rush of anxiety. "But I think we need to keep reading. There might be more to uncover." As they delved deeper into the letters, they sensed a growing presence, the air thickening with an otherworldly energy. The walls seemed to close in around them, as if the mansion itself were urging them to unveil the truth hidden for so long. Each letter drew them further into Susan's world, revealing secrets and unfulfilled desires that had been buried beneath years of pain. With every word, they felt her spirit guiding them, pushing them toward a resolution that had eluded her in life. But just as they reached the final letter, another crash echoed from the entrance of the passage. The group exchanged anxious glances, realizing they were not alone in the mansion. Whatever spirit remained within these walls was growing restless, and it was clear that they were on the brink of an incredible revelation, one that would intertwine their fates with the haunted legacy of the S.K. Pierce mansion forever. As the final letter revealed Susan's deep longing for Thomas, the atmosphere around the group intensified. They felt her pain and desire for freedom, a palpable connection that urged them to help her find peace. Just then, a gust of cold air rushed through the passage, extinguishing their flashlights momentarily. In the sudden darkness, whispers echoed, almost pleading. "Help me, find him." Determined, Jake spoke into the shadows. "We're here for you, Susan. We'll help you find Thomas." As he finished speaking, the lights flickered back on, illuminating the small room and the ornate box filled with Susan's letters. With renewed energy, the group pieced together their findings. They realized that the letters not only expressed Susan's feelings, but also hinted at a meeting place, a nearby lake where she had hoped to escape with Thomas. "We need to go there," Sarah urged, feeling an urgent pull. "It might be where she last saw him." The group quickly made their way out of the mansion, racing to the lake as twilight descended. The water glimmered under the moonlight, creating an ethereal atmosphere. As they stood at the water's edge, Sarah called out to Susan, urging her spirit to come forward. In response, a gentle breeze rustled the trees, and for a brief moment, they saw a shimmering figure by the shore. Susan, looking serene and free. Tears filled Sarah's eyes as she sensed the release of Susan's spirit, finally able to let go of her earthly ties. "Thank you," the figure whispered, before dissolving into the night, leaving behind a sense of calm and closure. The investigators felt a profound stillness envelop them, the heavy weight of the mansion's history lifting. They had helped Susan find peace, intertwining their lives with hers in an unexpected, beautiful way. As they left the lake, the S.K. Pierce mansion stood silent behind them, its haunting legacy forever altered by the love story that had finally come to light. Each member of the team carried with them a piece of that history, knowing they had helped unravel a tragic tale that had lingered for far too long. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story.